Now, as usual, completely informal way, I want to talk with you. Firstly, I very much appreciate this college 180 years ago, isn't it? 129 years ago, you see, they established. Then since then, so I think this college really made significant sort of service to people, provide the proper education. And also I noticed, you see, some of these Christian sort of fathers, they themselves also, you see, usually sincerely follow Jesus Christ's teaching. So they practice compassion, forgiveness, these things. So besides sort of education, knowledge, they also show some kind of the example of goodness human being. So I appreciate. Now, a young student. Now we are in 21st century. According some historian, 20th century, in 20th century, more than 200 millions of people killed through violence. So the previous century, 20th century, although human history, that century is really very, very important century for human sort of development. However, and also I think during that century, highly advanced technology, science, these things. But unfortunately, these sort of new sort of invented things used for destruction, including nuclear weapon, like that. So, if the immense violence which used in 20th century solve many human problems, then there can be some kind of justification, but that not. And instead, starting of this sort of century, 21st century, some unhealthy sort of violence or unhealthy situations facing. Although compare the previous century sort of violence is limited, but still, these are, I feel, the traces of some kind of mistake in 20th century and also negligence in 20th century. I think these are the sort of symptom of these mistake or negligence in 20th century. And then also they sort of, due to science and technology, the material development is rapidly increasing. But now it's quite clear those sort of society where much sort of affluent sort of society, the inner peace is not necessarily sufficient or high. So, some my friend, very rich, I think a billionaire, but as a human being, as a person, very unhappy person. So that clearly shows material value itself failed to bring inner peace. Too much stress, anxiety. Then sometimes disaster also happen. So inner peace, very, very important. So now we are in 21st century. So only 10 years passed of this century. 90 years yet to come. Now, I usually describe my age. I think Principal said this. You are also, I think we belong to 20th century, not 21st century. We belong to 20th century. So 20th century gone now. So we are ready to say bye-bye. Now you, people below 20, 30, you are really people of this century. So, whether this century creates some kind of, this century becoming more happier century, more peaceful, more constructive, more sort of compassionate century, that or similar sort of century, much killing, much sort of bully, immense suffering, particularly the poorer section of the people. Few people enjoy, but remaining the people remain poor. And sometimes even becoming poorer. Very sad situation. So whether sort of transform this century, more happier humanity sort of century, entirely up to you. This responsibility remain on your shoulder. So firstly, I think you need two things. One, inner strength, self-confidence. Self-confidence comes on the basis of honest truth, transparent. Through that way, you get more sort of willpower. Other hand, if inside some kind of extreme self-centered attitude here, and not much concern about others' well-being, then there is always possibility, so some kind of desire or some kind of feeling how to exploit, how to cheat, how to sort of, exploit a bully like that. So once these sort of emotions come there, automatically you can't be very open. Something here, some negative things here, which you want to hide. So you can't be honest, truthful, straightforward. That creates more suspicion. You yourself then become more distant from other. So then, no matter what sort of brilliant mind, or wealthy people, or powerful people, deep inside, very, very weak. So we must look that level. So you need self-confidence. For that, honest, finally, compassionate sort of mind brings honesty, truthful, straightforward, and no need hypocrisy. And many sort of wrongdoing or harming other automatically reduce. Out of fear, because of law or because of some other sort of the law enforcement, if there's opportunity, doing some wrong things, do something wrong. Wrongdoings always happen. Corruption, like that. So, in order to sort of build sort of clean society, happy society, individual person, here, the genuine sort of spirit of honest, truthful is very important. So here the basis is warm-heartedness or compassionate mind. Number one. Number two, you need vision. So education now brings, firstly, as you mentioned, not only just information, but you see, I think suppose the very purpose of education is to reduce gap between appearance and the reality. So from Buddhist viewpoint, all suffering, all problem come from ignorance. So education suppose reduce the gap, appearance and reality. So firstly, you have to learn from teacher's sort of word or teacher's lecture, and then read books. Then you that is very essential. Ancient Indian sort of the tradition, there are three levels of sort of knowledge or awareness. First level, simply learn from other and almost like a copy. Then second level, out of deep sort of analyze, investigate by yourself, including some experiment. That brings second level of awareness. That awareness based on logical reasoning. So,
valid cognition. Valid reasoning. That kind of understanding that brings confidence is based on valid cognition, understanding the truth of the object in its entirety.
It's the first level. Of course, you already know something, but very shadow. If some other sort of person say different way, then you may feel, you may confuse. But after second level of sort of awareness, through your own investigation, through your own sort of
analysis.
Then you bring conviction. If someone say differently, still you have the sort of reasons. No, that's not. Certain sort of your own point view is based on valid sort of factor. So that's second sort of level. Then through that way, you see, familiarize at that point, then eventually, without thinking, without effort, come automatically. That's third level of sort of awareness, like that. So therefore, the knowledge, acquire knowledge about the reality. And then here also, I want to share with you the reality, everything interconnected, interrelated. Of course, except God, maybe according to you, according to theistic viewpoint, God is absolute, not relative. Otherwise, you see, everything, I think God himself, you see, created things on the nature of relative interdependency. So therefore, unless you have more holistic sort of view, your sort of conduct with certain sort of the point or certain sort of problem or certain sort of goal may not be realistic, because things are relative, things are interconnected or interrelated. So unless you know that through one angle, one dimension, you cannot see the reality in order to know the reality, you must look from all dimensions, all different sort of angles. 3 dimension not sufficient, 4 dimension, 6 dimension. Through that way, you get the clearer picture about the reality. So therefore, when we approach some research or some look, we must look more holistic. Then, of course, out of clear sort of picture from holistic view, then one particular field you can carry some sort of, you can focus, then specialize in particular field. But basically, we need more holistic view. That's, I think, very important. So, when we develop, when we look the world holistic, then environment issue also become very important. If you just look your own area, your own home, the global warming not much direct related. If you look from wider perspective, more holistic view, then the ecology is so important. Then also, you say like a religious person, myself religious person, if I look just Buddhism, you Christian brothers, sisters, look just to Christianity without seeing the other tradition. There sometimes may cause some problems. So religious harmony, in order to develop genuine harmony among different religious traditions, firstly, you should know the value of other tradition. So if you look religious different traditions more holistic way, then you can see, because you can see the reality. If you look your own side, then you cannot see much. You cannot see the full picture of the reality. Then this, yesterday also I mentioned the gap rich and poor. Now in this country, very important nation, very important country. Economically, is now rapidly sort of developing, but still, unless you take special sort of pay attention and making effort, this gap, rich and poor, increasing. So, if you adopt more holistic view, then this gap not only morally wrong, but practically also source of problem. So finally, you also, you see, get some problem due to this gap. So the holistic view, I think educate people more holistic way is, I think, very, very important. Through that way, you get clear, you get the vision or practical, realistic vision. Then through that way, your effort becoming realistic effort. Through realistic effort, you get the goal, what you want. Any unrealistic approach never bring the goal, what you want. You cannot achieve. So these 2 things I want to share with young student, sort of inner strength, based on compassion, then utilize human intelligence more holistic way, or more holistic, then you really equipped to tackle the problem which we are facing, and through that way we can sort of bring more happier, more equal, more sort of the prosperity, and more peaceful world. So that I want to share with you. So that's my number 1 sort of commitment, promoting Kasachuti, inner values. And also, you see, from health viewpoint also, more peaceful mind, more calm mind. You see, immense sort of benefit to body sort of, to become more balanced, our body element. So more peaceful mind, the blood pressure reduce, stress reduce. Through that way, your health improve. Now, some university in America, some scientists now already, you see, they carry some experiment. So even a short period, a few weeks sort of experiment, student or people, some sort of what's the short period sort of what's the training of mind, really after a few weeks makes differences. Student or people, before that sort of training of mind start, check blood pressure, stress, or other many sort of different things. Then after a few weeks sort of training, again check, they found significant sort of differences. So these are not talking about next life or God, or from Buddhist viewpoint, not talking about God, about Buddha or Bodhisattva or these things. Simply, as a human being, living being, everybody loves oneself and taking care of your own health, taking care of your own peace of mind. So this is the point. I usually describe secular ethics, not necessarily relying on religious faith. So health viewpoint also, you see, the inner peace is very essential. And then after all, we human being, social animal, any social animal, genuine full cooperation is very essential. Look, bees and some other sort of social animal. No law, no police force, no kareta, no religion, but they work together. Because of the reality, they are a social animal. So each member of this society or community have the responsibility to work for whole community like that. So we also social animal. So genuine cooperation is very essential. In order to create genuine cooperation, we need sense of responsibility, sense of community. And on that, then we really need friendship. Friendship based on trust. Without trust, how can develop genuine friendship? In order to create trust, openness, straightforward, transparent, very essential. So, from that viewpoint also, the compassionate heart is very, very key factor. So, then also this is, now here a lot of sort of young girls already. I think, yes. And of course, naturally, you see, there are feminists also here. So I usually say half joke, half serious. People in particularly in modern society, you see, paying much more attention about external beauty. It's okay. It's a what do you call cosmetic or something, isn't it? Spend, I think, a lot of money. A big company also spend a lot of money. But real beauty, of course, physical beauty also important. But really important is inner beauty. I have one story. In early 60, one Tibetan monk official who eventually disrobed. So I know him very well. So one time I teased him, "Oh, your wife, not that much attractive." Oh. Then he responded to me, "External beauty, not that much attractive, but inner beauty is so sort of beautiful." He mentioned that. So then I have no further argument with him. So inner beauty, these people, you see, they after marriage, so suppose happy marriage, long-lasting happy marriage, but within few weeks, within months, within years, some problem happen. A lot of divorce now take place, particularly in the West. So these things, I think, lack of inner beauty. So each other sort of mutual respect come on the basis of the realization or recognition of others' inner beauty. That's very important. That I want to share with you. So now that's my usual sort of also the commitment, promotion of human value. Then second, the promotion of religious harmony. Here, this country, India, Arya Bhumi, we call Arya Bhumi, Bharat, 1,000 years, different religious tradition live together. Last now, I think, about 1,000 years, this country, beside the homegrown different religious tradition, the different religious tradition from outside, like Zoroastrian from Iran, come, and Christianity come, Islam came, and also the Judaism. So all major religious traditions live or well established in this country. So live together. Of course, pockets sometimes the problems. Some Hindus burn some Christian missionaries work, and some Hindus is beating some Muslims. Such things happen. That's understandable. Over 1 billion human beings, such a huge number. Some mischievous people always happen. That's understandable. But overall, India is, I think, I really feel, a model of the rest of the world as far as ahimsa concept and religious harmony is concerned. These two things, I think, India is the example of the rest of the world. So the religious harmony in this country, 1,000 years, already there. Because, you see, constant sort of contact with follower of other tradition. So that automatically, you see, develop sort of mutual respect, mutual admiration. And then as far as Christian brother, sister is concerned, I often see telling, on this planet, I think Christian brothers, sisters, I think really sort of also they made tremendous sort of contribution regarding education. In Europe, America, South, North America, Africa, Asia, I think Europe, some extent in Europe. So whole world, I think Christian brothers, sisters, really made tremendous sort of also contribution regarding education. I really admire where Buddhist community, very little, Buddhist monk, Buddhist nun, very little. The Hindus also quite limited. Now Ramakrishnan, nowadays you see more sort of also they now effort for education. Otherwise it's difficult. So our Christian brothers, sisters really made immense sort of contribution. I really appreciate. Oh, in the meantime, some Christian missionaries also, you see, making some effort about conversion. That also sometimes creates some problems. Like you see, Mongolia, some Korean missionaries, you see, they sort of carrying the conversion. Not awareness, but through dollar. One Mongolian, of course traditionally Buddhist, convert Christian, and he or she get $15. So the Mongolian also is quite clever. So each year, every year, conversion. So each time you get $15. So one time in America, what called such? Mormon, Mormon, Mormon. One time, you see, they invited me. I went there. Then my sort of public talk, I mentioned the missionary work. Those area where no sort of sound religious belief, no sound religious belief, that means religious belief with certain ideology, then, you see, Christianity, faith, there is sound sort of basis, reasons, theology, theories, so worthwhile carry conversion. But then those areas where traditional faith with equal sort of philosophical sort of background, then conversion creates some problems. I mentioned that. As I mentioned earlier, I myself also, usually talk straightforward, frankly, sometimes a little bit bluntly. So I felt, what kind of response from the audience? But when I mentioned that, the audience, they did that, like that. So that also, while because of the praising our Christian brothers sisters, a little criticism also, as I mentioned. I think a Buddhist, maybe Ashoka period, some missionary work, otherwise this never happened. The one sort of was a text mentioned, unless someone asks you about explanation of Buddhism, you should not sort of teach. Even after you should ask, judge the person, Buddhist sort of way of approach, whether fit that person or not. If you feel fit there, then you should explain about Buddhism. So that's the Buddhist way. So that also I think is very good in order to develop genuine sort of harmony among different religious traditions. So genuine harmony not come out of just exchange a few words, no. The study, observe other traditions sort of value. Myself, when I was in Tibet, very little knowledge about Christianity or some other thing, some other tradition. But after coming to India, for example, my meeting with late Thomas Merton, immense help to understand what is the value of Christianity. And a person who follow Christianity, their sort of way of life really introduced me immense sort of value of Christianity. So many similarities. And Mother Teresa, for an example, totally dedicated for well-being of other people, and particularly poorer section of the people, helpless people. Sometimes, we feel little sort of shame. I talk compassion, these things, but doing very little. Of course, I cannot just spend a lot of my time to do something by my own hand. I have to sort of judge what
importance.
More holistic way, like that way. So in any way, so religious harmony exists 1,000 years in this country. Now, time come, we should show rest of the world, particularly where some inter-religious conflict between Catholic, Protestant, and Shia, and Sunni. I think many occasions I share with some my Indian Muslim friend. Now, you should make some effort. I suggested the Indian Muslim I notice, you see, sometimes some Indian Muslim come to see me, they together, Shia and Sunni, no problem. And then that spirit must introduce those Muslim area where Shia, Sunni, difficult relations. So, in any way, we Indian, of course, because physically I'm not Indian, I'm Tibetan. But, you know, these days I describe myself firstly as a message of India, then secondly, also I mentioned I'm son of India. Then I think 2 years ago, one Chinese group, of course from free country, you see, because came to see me, and one is a Chinese media person, is asked me, why you mentioned as is a son of India? And then I explained, my brain, every part of my sort of brain, sort of was the particles of my brain filled by Nalanda thought. Then this physical, then around 50 years, this physical sustained by Indian dals, Indian rice, Indian chapati. So both physically, because mentally, I'm son of India. Then I think he understood. You see, he did not like that. No further sort of argument. In any way, so while I really feel proud to say I'm message of India, then often I reflect within India caste system, the dowry system, and some other discrimination, sort of as a part of tradition. Now time must change. Very important. So I often, you see, appeal my Hindu spiritual brothers, sisters, now should speak more. Maybe some of these sort of, they practice as a part of tradition, but now these are these belongs to the past. Now today's reality, now this must change. So like that, so that I just want to share with you. Then finally, your college, and really helped immensely education for younger generation of Tibetan community here. I very much appreciate. Thank you. We Tibetan, I think one of the cause of our suffering is in our previous generation, or one generation, I think two, three generations, they completely neglected about modern education. So as soon as we come to India, 1959, April, I reached Mussoorie. Within 1 year, we start school for modern education. The first school opened at Mussoorie. I think early 60, I think March or April, we start the school, first school, because you see, we experienced, due to lack of modern education, you see, we really suffer. So people here, Tibetan, you should study very seriously. And sometimes I heard, you see, Tibetan student at school level, more discipline, then college level, more freedom. So sometimes, you see, they, some unhealthy sort of situation also sometimes happening. I heard. So please, you see, because practice self-discipline and awareness about the whole picture. That's very, very important. And meantime, we Tibet, I think since 7th particularly I think 8th century, the Nalanda tradition brought by or established by Shanta Rakshita. So now today, as a result of meeting with different people, different religious people, and also scientists, I notice the Nalanda tradition, not just a religion, but there are three parts. Science, external science, internal science, then concept of philosophy, then religion. I divided three parts. So, science, which mentioned in Buddhist literature, that's science. And then second, on the basis of the reality, certain concepts develop. Concept of impermanence, momentarily changing. These concepts is philosophy or viewpoint. Nothing to do with religion. Then third part is religion. So these two things are universal. So I notice, you see, number of scientists, really well-known scientists, respected scientists, they are in many cases not a believer, atheist. But as far as sort of certain inner science which mentioned in Buddhist literature, they found immensely useful to get clearer information or explanation about different emotions and the system of these emotions and how to tackle these emotions. So they're really showing immense interest, not as a religion, but as a science, which come from Buddhist tradition, Nalanda tradition, mainly Nalanda tradition, Sanskrit tradition. So this is our traditional religion, our traditional sort of religion or spirituality. So it is really worthwhile to keep these sort of traditions. And in order to keep, not just to keep a few statues in your home, that's not the practical way. Practical way is study. Through books, we have, you see, translation from India into Tibetan, over 300 volumes, except I think about 10 volumes translated from Chinese language. Otherwise, the rest of the books all translated from either Sanskrit or Pali. So now today, it seems to say among the Buddhists, I think Tibetan Buddhism is the complete form of Buddhism because living Nalanda tradition established by Shanta Rakshita himself. So it is really, I feel, Tibetan treasure. Then, through centuries, Tibetan language, you see the use explaining these Buddhist sort of thought or Buddhist sort of practice. So now today, I think among 1,000 different languages, Tibetan language is the best language to explain the Nalanda tradition thoroughly, not Chinese language. It's very clear. So therefore, those Tibetan students who study here, you see, you must know that sort of fact. And then pay more attention about the Tibetan language and read, study. And those people who do not understand clearly through Tibetan, then for the time being, relying on English translation, like that, or Hindi translation, like that. And then also in the Himalayan area, including, you see, in Nepal also, there's a lot of traditionally, a lot of Buddhist, and some Bhutanese here, or Bhutanese also is the same. And then among Indians, from Ladakh up to Man, traditionally follower of Tibetan Buddhism. So these are, I think, really worthwhile to keep. And then my Indian friend, Buddhism is actually your religion. We Tibetans learned from India, not our traditional religion. Buddhism is your own tradition. So therefore, I always describe Indians as our guru. We are Chela. We Tibetan are Chela. So sometimes I describe we Tibetan as your Chela. Historic shows we are quite a reliable Chela. Because, the last several centuries, you see a lot of disturbances about Buddhism. For example, Nalanda destroyed. So during this period, we Tibetan kept all these rich the thought or thinking power kept intactly. So that proves we are quite reliable Chela. So therefore, I also want to share with our Indian friend. So logically, when Chela suffer, Guru should take more active help. Thank you.